Alright, so now let's take a look at how to utilize Bridge's slideshow mode to create a nice dynamic way to analyze our images. Now to jump into slideshow mode is very easy. All you have to do is hit Control L or Command L on your keyboard and you'll automatically jump into Bridge's new slideshow mode. Now go ahead and tap an arrow key when you first jump into Bridge just so you can avoid the auto transition feature, which will automatically cycle through your images as you go. So here we are inside of the slideshow mode, and one of the great things about this is you have the ability to zoom in and out of these images while you're in slideshow mode. So you've already got this full screen preview, but now you can zoom in 100%, 200, 400, and even 800% all at full screen. So this is an absolute amazing way to get a full, unbelievably close-up preview of every single one of your images. It's very, very handy for when you're analyzing especially those large 8 to 10 megapixel files that come directly off of your digital camera. And in case you're wondering how I zoomed in and out on those images, you simply do that by hitting the plus key on your keyboard. And if you want to zoom back out, simply tap the minus key on your keyboard. That will zoom you in and out of those images there. Now, if you want to cycle through the images that you have here, all you have to do is tap your arrow keys, either your left or right arrow key. So the right arrow key to advance forward, the left arrow key to advance backwards, and you'll be able to view each one of these images the same way. You can zoom in on these images exactly like you could the other ones, so just zoom in simply by tapping the plus and or minus key on your keyboard. And another thing you need to be aware of in here is the ability you have to set the certain options for the slideshow mode. So let's go ahead now, we'll bring up the options here, and we'll do that simply by hitting the letter L on our keyboard. That's going to bring up our slideshow options here. So let's go ahead and take a look at here. We have the display options here at the top. We have the ability to black out additional monitors. So if you have a dual monitor setup and you only want to view the slideshow on one particular monitor and you want to have the other one blacked out, go ahead and check that checkbox right there. You also have the ability to repeat the slideshow, so if you get to the end of the slideshow, it just loops back around and starts with the original image. You also have the ability to zoom back and forth between images. That's just going to create a nice little zoom effect when you're switching between the images themselves. And now let's take a look down at the bottom here. We'll take a look at the slide options. This is where it kind of gets interesting as far as presentation goes. So if you happen to be viewing a few images inside a Bridge and somebody walks up and says, hey, what are you working on? You can take a look at your slideshow very quickly. And with these nice slide durations and transitions that we're going to take a look at now, you have the ability to create some really dynamic looking slideshows right on the fly. So you'll really be impressing your coworkers and bosses simply by flicking a couple of keyboard keys, and you'll really look kind of slick when you're doing this. So let's go ahead now. We'll take a look at the slide durations. For this particular one, we're going to lower this down to 1 second simply because we have 10 images and I really don't want to spend 5 seconds looking at each one of these images. I'm going to keep the captions off because I haven't really done anything caption-wise to these, so I'm just going to leave that off. You have the ability to come in here and say page numbers, compact, or full. I'm going to turn that to off simply because I don't want captions on here. You also have the ability to say when presenting, show slides centered, scaled to fit, or scaled to fill. So what that means is if you want to scale the image so that it fits in between the top and bottom of the screen, go ahead and select scale to fit. If you want it to scale to fill, it's actually going to stretch that image to fill the entire area of the screen. So I suggest scale to fit so you get a more accurate preview of the actual aspect ratio and appearance of your photographs. So the last thing we're going to look at is the transition options, and the transition options are where you get to be a little bit more creative with your slideshow. So for instance, if I want to come down here and let's just pick something like revolving door. This is a pretty interesting transition here. And we'll just slow down the speed of it a little bit. You simply drag the slider to the right to make that a slower transition. Drag it to the left to speed it up. And then at the end, we could go ahead and click OK to commit to these changes. Or if we didn't like some of the options that we set in here and we wanted to get back to our original, we could simply hit revert. But I'm going to go ahead and say OK here. And now then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to escape out of this because I want this to auto start so that I go through one at a time here. So let's go ahead and escape. We'll just hit the escape key on our keyboard. Alright, so now we're going to take a look at our slideshow, and we're going to do that simply by hitting Control L on the keyboard again. So that's just going to jump us into slideshow mode. So you can see exactly how powerful this is to create these nice little slick transitions and a nice preview for your images, and it's really a neat way to preview and analyze your images here inside of the Adobe Bridge. Now, one more thing that I'm going to be showing you with this slideshow mode, let's go ahead and jump back into this really quick here. And what we're going to do is we're going to be able to assign different types of ratings to these images. Now we're getting ready to cover ratings and things like that, but one of the great things about the slideshow itself is the ability to assign ratings while you're in slideshow mode. So for instance, if you wanted to say this is a 5-star image, you could go ahead and just simply hit the letter 5 on your keyboard, and you'll notice down here in the bottom left-hand corner, you automatically set up the 5-star rating for that particular photo. And you can do that simply by hitting the number 5 on your keyboard, and then you see down here in the bottom left-hand corner you have all 5 stars there assigned to this image. So this is a really quick and easy way of rating those images as you go through. We'll talk more about ratings here in the next lesson, but I just wanted to show you exactly how quick and easy it was to add those ratings as you're going through these slideshows. So you can just advance the images, assign ratings, and keep going all throughout those 10 images that we have there selected. I'm going to go ahead now and hit the escape key to get out of slideshow mode. So now you should be able to run a slideshow, edit the slideshow, have all your different options, and it's just a really great way to analyze and view your images on a very large scale.